Uh, Hi, sir. Good evening. Uh, so still people are joining. Okay. Let's wait for a few more minutes to start the class. So any one of you? So how many of you registered for this DevOps class? Okay. Right, sir. So actually, yesterday there was some technical problem. Okay. So what we'll do is, you people will get a new link by tomorrow. Okay. Mm, yeah. We'll start the class from tomorrow with the new link. Okay. From tomorrow 6:15 p.m. Today, anyways, yeah, people are still joining, right? No problem. I think today, within this session, just I'll give brief introduction so that others also can have a brief idea about configuration management. Okay. Um, the continuation part will start from, we'll continue the configuration management from tomorrow evening 6:15 p.m. Okay. So the people who haven't registered for this DevOps, please uh, go ahead and register for this DevOps course. So you'll get the registration link if you call these numbers to attend the class. Okay. Uh, People are becoming so lazy nowadays. They haven't joined still. Uh, 5, 6. Yes, yes. Yesterday there was some technical issue. Yesterday there was some technical issue with that. It's a technical issue with the Zoom. Yeah, yes, 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 I thought. Okay, we're going to talk about Maven as well. Okay. I'm not sure, Samsiva, about that. I'm not sure. Even I don't have any idea about that. Yeah. So from tomorrow onwards, uh, I'll disable the joining link after 5 p.m. Okay, please try to attend the class by 5, at least by 5. Okay. After 5 you try to attend, you cannot be able to join because I'll disable the link. I'll disable the link button. Okay. So it's purely, you guys are purely wasting my time as well. So everyone, sir, please try to attend the class at least by 5. Okay. Once I join the class or once I start the class, if you join late, you cannot able to understand. That's not the problem. Okay. Right, sir. So if you want to continue this or if you want to attend the DevOps class, that is by evening 6:15 p.m. I am going to start the class from tomorrow. Okay. So go ahead and register for the class to get the link. Okay. Today also I'm giving you time. So go ahead and register for the class. Okay. So right, sir. Anyways, we'll wait for 1 more minute, sir. Meanwhile, let me go ahead and start my servers. I think it's not required now. Yes. We'll see. Security reasons. Yes, yes. There was some technical issue with Zoom yesterday. I mean, we could not able to. Aditya. Okay, okay. We'll get that clarity too. Right, sir. So we'll start the class. Let me see the numbers. Let me see the names. So the people who are joined lately, I cannot help. Uh, See the participant list. Okay. Right, sir. So in the previous class, what have we discussed, sir? I think we have discussed about the passwordless authentications, right? In the previous class, we have discussed about passwordless authentications. Okay. So generally, how many types of authentication models are there? First one is with the username and with password, and the second one is with the username and with private key, and the third way is with instead of a username, there is a way with public key and private key. This is what we are calling. Okay, this type of authentication we are calling as passwordless authentications. Okay, so this kind of authentications we are calling as passwordless authentications. So this is what happens internally. This is what happens internally. Okay, so once you need to copy the public key to the server, and then you can go ahead and connect to that server by okay. Next, right? So as I said, so you guys try doing this one. So are you guys facing any issue with this, or is everything fine? So you guys could able to set up this passwordless authentication, right? So there is absolutely no problem, right? Good, sir. Very good. Because it is the basic pillar to the DevOps course. Okay. So if you have any doubts, please let me know regarding this concept. Okay. All right, sir. So as I said, today I wanted to start version control system. the to Git. Just a minute, sir. Sir, give me a minute. Okay. But for the actual DevOps students, DevOps class students who has already registered for this session, right? For this DevOps class, for this DevOps batch, I actually want to start from Ansible. Okay. Um, so what I have decided is, just in order to give you a brief idea before starting this version control system, I want all of you should have one common idea about the configuration management. Okay. Just I'll give you one brief idea about this configuration management. To all of you. Okay, so we will be discussing this Git or this version control system from tomorrow 5 p.m. Okay, so today I'm starting this configuration management. So we will be continuing this. We will be continuing this concept. The two answer. So today I'll start with configuration management now, but we'll be continuing this concept from tomorrow 6:15 p.m. with the paid DevOps batch. Okay, so if you people still want to learn this DevOps, or if you guys are interested to learn this these tools, so I closed that, right. Ansible, Jenkins, and pipeline scripting. Okay, so go ahead and register for this class. Okay, just contact these numbers. You'll get a registration link. When you contact them, they will provide a registration link. Okay, so right, sir. So you guys clear with this, right? So today I'm going to start today in this class. I'll give you a brief introduction about configuration management. So what is configuration management? And today's agenda is, okay, we'll talk about what is configuration management and why do we require tools to work with configuration management. Okay, and the different tools, say the tool sets that are available for this or for the configuration management, right? And the differences between them. Okay, so these points we'll discuss today. Okay, and we'll be continuing with this concept, with the configuration management concept, from tomorrow evening 6:15 p.m. Okay, so with the 5 o'clock batch, I'll be starting version control system. Okay, is this clear? Sir, is this clear with everyone? Sir, is this clear with everyone? Right? No, today there is no 6:15 p.m. class. Okay, from tomorrow onwards, you'll be having 6:15 p.m. class. Okay, only registered people will get the link to attend that class. Okay, but for everyone, even though okay, you are not a part of the paid DevOps class, I want you to know little bit about this configuration management tool, because this will be helpful for you. Okay, right. Not at all. Not at all, Saitar. Not at all. Okay. You won't find any difficulty. Absolutely not. Okay. Just trust me. That's it. Right, sir. So what is configuration management? So what is configuration management? What is configuration management? Or how many types of configurations we have? Do we have in any server? Okay. So if you want to create users, okay, it belongs to user configuration management, right? So user management, that means user configuration management. Okay. Uh, so if you want to create users, or you want to set up home directories for the users, or if you want to add users to any group, so all these are called as user configuration managements. Okay. So I'll write the points here. Okay. So creating users, adding users to the groups, or creating users and groups. Let me write the point, it will be good. Okay, adding users to the groups, etc. Like this. So setting up passwords to the users. Okay, and what we have seen, sir, for users related things, assigning root privileges to the user, that too with the no password attached. Okay, and copying public keys, like setting up a passwordless authentications for the users. So all this will comes under user configuration management. Okay, so whatever the things that you are doing with the user accounts, right? All these things. So these are all comes under user configuration management. Okay, all these are comes under user configuration. If you are managing that one, means you are managing user configuration management. Okay, so apart from this, after user configuration management, you will be having package management, package configuration management. Okay, package management means installing packages, updating packages, deleting packages. Okay, if you have a group of servers in your organization, let's say you have 20 servers. Okay, so in these 20 servers, if you want to manage the packages, like if you want to install the packages, or if you want to uninstall the packages, or if you want to update, or if you want to upgrade the packages. Okay, so all this comes under the package management. All this comes under package configuration management. Mm, User management, package management, and we have a service management, something called as service management. Stopping the services, restarting the services, starting the new services, okay, or reloading the services. So all these, so the service related configuration, all these managements, okay. So all these tasks, it comes under service configuration management. And we have process management. Okay, creating process, deleting the process, killing the process. Okay, so all this process, all this management comes under process configuration management. Okay, so if you are managing, or if you are killing any process, or if you want to kill a process out of 10 servers, so okay, some unnecessary process is running on the back end. So if you want to kill that process, okay, so killing that process is actually called as a process management, right? Like this. Yeah, we have memory management. And we have storage management. Okay, like this. We have different kinds of configuration managements. Okay, different kind of configurations that we need to maintain. Okay, so on a server, if you want to maintain the configuration means, so you need to maintain user configuration management, package management, service management, process related management, memory related management, and say storage related management. So all these are comes under configuration managements. Okay, so on a group of servers, so if you have a group of servers in your organization, okay, so if you have a group of servers in your organization, like this, so you need to maintain all these configurations across all this group of servers. Okay, assume that's your data center where you'll be having all these servers. So within these servers, you need to maintain all these users management, package management, service management, process management, memory management, and storage management. Okay, now just imagine, sir. Okay, you are running with some 100 servers just for an easy calculation purpose. Okay, 100 servers in your organization. Okay, now let's say you want to create one user account across all these servers. Now you want to create one user account across all these servers. Okay, means you want to manage user configuration across all these servers. That means you want to create one user account in all these servers. Then what would be your approach generally? Okay, you need to log into each and every server. You need to log into each and every server manually, and you need to perform some steps over there, and again you need to close the session, and again you need to connect to this machine. Like this, you need to connect to each and every machine, and then you need to perform some process. Okay, you need to perform some commands over there. Let's say I want to start a service. Okay, or I want to stop some service across all these servers. Then what you need to do? For each and every server, you need to manually log in and you need to perform manual steps, right? So maintaining the configurations, maintaining all these configurations across a group of servers. Okay, maintaining all these configurations for managing all these configurations across a group of servers. So if you want to effectively manage, then you require tools. Okay, because manually, directly or manually, we can't. Let's see, even if you can connect these servers manually and you can perform all these commands, but it will take so much of time, right? So if you have a list of tasks to do for today, so as an admin, if you want to perform, let's say 10 tasks, 10 different tasks in a group of 100 servers, then how much time it will take to perform all these tasks? It's really absolutely waste of time, right? So in order to do all these configurations, or in order to manage all these configurations effectively, we required tools. Okay, so with the help of tools, we can effectively manage the configurations. Okay, so how we can manage the configurations effectively with the help of tools? That thing we are going to discuss now. Okay. So before to the tools in market, generally people used to. So it's not like that people are using or people are. So before to the tools, it's not that people are manually logging into each and every server. They are performing all these commands manually. Before to that, they used to do the configuration management by help of some kind of a scripts. Okay, they used to manage the configuration with the help of scripts. Obviously, no one will be doing manual tasks across a group of servers. Okay, so before to this tools, or before to the tool sets, generally or usually people are used to, especially the admins are used to manage the configurations by using some kind of a scripts. Okay, so some people might be writing shell scripts, or some people might be writing Perl scripts, or some people might be writing Python scripts, or some people might be writing Ruby scripts. Okay, so there is no set of So there is no standard set of rules that no one has designed at that time. Okay, if you are good with, let's say, we are working with, let's say some 4 admins are there. Okay, so if one user is very good with the shell scripting, what he used to do generally, he used to write some shell script over there. Okay, he used to write some shell script in order to manage the configurations across all the servers. So he will directly connect to that server, and then he will run the shell script across this server. Okay, so connection part is manual task. So first he will connect to that server, and then without performing the manual task, simply he will run that script over there. Okay, so one admin might be good at shell scripting, another admin might be good at some Ruby scripting. So what the second person will do, he might be using some Ruby kind of scripts in order to manage the configuration of the servers. Another other person might be good at Python scripting, so he might be writing some Python scripts over here. Okay, it would be good, sir, if you can maintain the configuration of the scripts. It would be good, but there is no state of standardization. So what does it mean? So the person who has written the shell scripts, okay, might leave the organization. Okay, so the person whoever newly joined into that role might not understand the script that the person number one has written, because this person number one might have written in some other context. Okay, so if you want to understand, if the newly joined person wants to understand the script, it will take so much of time. Okay, maybe the newly joined person might not know the shell script. He might know some other thing, let's say some Ruby script. Then it would be problem, right? So before that, people used to manage the configuration with the help of scripts, but there is no standard procedure. Okay, but there is no standardization in that. Okay, so one person might be writing scripts with some shell scripting, and some other person might be writing scripts with Perl scripting, and some other person might be writing some other language like Ruby scripting. Like this, people used to write different kind of scripts according to their knowledge level or according to their expertise level. Okay, so if someone wants to continue the work, they might not be able to continue the work, or it will take so much of time to cope with that, to cope with the existing, to understand the existing scripts. So in order to avoid this kind of latency, they have brought one standardization. Okay, they have put some kind of rules. How they have brought some kind of rules? By introducing some kind of a tool sets. By introducing some kind of tools. Okay, so in order to effectively manage the configurations of all the servers, they have introduced some tools to maintain the configurations across a group of servers. Okay, those tools are called as a configuration management tools. Those tools are called as configuration management tools. So what are the tools, different kinds of tools that are available in the market to do the configuration management? Okay, so in the market, first tool that got introduced in order to do the effective configuration management, which is called as a Puppet. I'm sorry. Okay, so the first configuration management tool, as part of as I concern, the first configuration got introduced in the market is Puppet. After Puppet, Chef got introduced in the market. Okay, after that, Ansible got introduced. After Ansible, or along with Ansible, SaltStack got introduced in the market. Okay, so out of this, like this, some other configuration management tools are there, but out of those, only these three configuration management tools got so much of popularity among all the configuration management tools. Okay, so let's say if your organization, at least, okay, in order to maintain the configuration management, if your organization decide to use Puppet, okay, so you should follow some set of rules. Okay, if you want to write Puppet scripts, yes, you should follow some set of rules. Okay, so all the admin people, or all the people who are responsible to do the configuration management, so all the persons should follow the same set of rules to write the scripts. Okay, so any one of the person got relieved from the current project or got relieved from the company, if any new person joined the organization, it would be very, very easy for him to understand the existing scripts. Because I write Puppet scripts, I'll write in a, okay, even I write or you write or any other person write, everyone should follow the same set of rules to write Puppet scripts. Okay, the scripts files should looks like the same. Okay, even I write, I need to follow the same set of rules, or even you write, you need to follow the same set of rules. Okay, so some standardization they have brought with the help of this kind of tools, the configuration management tools, that in the configuration management part. Okay, so within the configuration management part, what is the first tool that got introduced in the market? Puppet is the configuration management tool which got introduced in the market. Okay, next. So what someone is asking, just a minute, sir. No, Chandramouli, we haven't conducted the paid session yesterday. So configuration management is different from server side scripting. You said PHP, right? So who is asking that one? Balanaga Prasad. Okay, when did you join, sir? When did you join the session? Or by what time you joined the session? Balanaga Prasad. Sir, server side scripting is different from configuration management. Okay. So what does configuration management includes on the server side? These things. Sir, if you want to create users on server, or if you want to create, or if you want to maintain the packages, or if you want to install some packages, or delete or uninstall some packages, or upgrade some packages, or if you want to start a service, stop a service. So all these things will comes under configuration management. Okay. So PHP is somewhat different. It comes under web technologies. Okay. If you want to build a website, okay, for that website, if you want to run some server side scripts, okay, then you'll be using a PHP. Not only PHP, Java, .NET, all these are to write server side scripting only. Okay. From the client side, you would be using HTML or JavaScript. From there, within a form, you would be entering some username and password, right? So those is called as a front end. There you would be using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or Angular. All those are called as front end technologies. From there, the request will go to the back end server side. Okay, if you are entering username and password, who will check that username and password is correct? Someone should be there to take the request from client, from the browser to the server to check this username and password is correct, right? So if you want to check those kind of validations, there you would be using PHP, Java, .NET, this kind of server-side scripting. Okay, that is entirely different from this configuration management. I hope it's clear. Who has asked that question? So is that clear, Balanaga Prasad? Right? Good. Right, sir. So where we are? Right. So no problem, no problem. Okay. Naga Prasad. Jenkins class. Okay. So while doing Jenkins, I'll be clearly explaining the 3-tier architecture, how it looks like. Okay. The 2-tier architecture, single-tier architecture, 3-tier architecture, how it looks like, and microservices architecture. There will get so much of clarity about that one as well. Okay. On the development side as well. But now just concentrate on this. So if you want to effectively maintain these configurations on servers, so we are going for, we are managing the configurations with help of tools. So out of these tools, the Puppet is introduced in the market first. Later, Chef got introduced, and after that, Ansible got introduced. After that, so many other tools are there. But out of all those tools, only these three tools are most popular and widely used tools. So out of these three tools, which tool that I want to learn? This is what your question, right? So out of these tools, so anyone will get the doubt. So out of all these tools, which tool should I learn? Okay, it's up to you, sir. It's up to you. The tool you select, it's up to you. Okay, so what configuration management tool that you learn? Okay, if you want to learn all three, yes, you can go ahead and learn all three, but that's absolutely waste of time, because no one would be using all these three as the configuration management tool. Okay, so I'll tell the differences, then you decide what kind of a configuration management tool that you want to learn. Okay, right, sir. So this Puppet is developed using a language called Ruby language. Okay, this Puppet is developed using a language called Ruby language. Okay, let me, so instead of this, let me divide this into two parts. Observe, sir. Sir, if you take, or if you want to categorize the configuration management tools, so these configuration management tools you can categorize it. Okay, these configuration management tools, there are two types of configuration management tools are there. Okay, one is pull based, one is pull based configuration management tool, and the second one is push based configuration management tools. Okay, the second one is push based configuration management tools. Okay, the tools which falls under this pull based configuration management tools are Puppet and Chef. Okay, the tools which comes under push based configuration management tools is, as part of, as I concern or as I know, this for sure, Ansible is a push based configuration management tool, and as part of, as I know, okay, it's my question mark. Okay, so Salt Stack is also a push based configuration management tool. Okay, but it is not widely used as Ansible. Okay, I am not sure about this one. It's my question mark. Okay, so I'm not sure about this one. So we are here we are concentrating on these three things, because these three tools are widely used tools. Or if you want to categorize the configuration management tools into two different sets, we can configure, we can categorize the tools as push based and pull based. Okay, so the tools which falls under pull based configuration management tools are Puppet and Chef, and the tools which falls under push based configuration management tools is Ansible. Okay, now out of this, the Puppet is the first tool, the first configuration management tools which got introduced in the market. Okay, so what is this? What is this pull based and what is this push based? We'll be talking now. Before to that, just try to understand this. Okay, so Puppet is developed using what language? Ruby language. Okay, so the script files, the Puppet script files are called as manifests, or called as manifests. So if you want to do effective configuration management with Puppet, you need to write Puppet scripts. Okay. So for that Puppet scripts, so those Puppet scripts are called as the Puppet manifest files. Okay. So the language which is used to write these manifest files, or let me write the file. These manifest files we need to write these manifest files by using a language called Puppet DSL. Puppet DSL. Okay, which stands for Puppet Domain Specific Language. Okay, so if you want to write any manifest file in Puppet, you should learn. We should learn a language called as Puppet DSL. Okay, if you want to write Puppet scripts or Puppet manifest files, you need to learn Puppet DSL. This Puppet DSL is even again depends on Ruby language. Okay, it's something looks like Ruby language, but this Puppet DSL is separately. So if you want to write a Puppet scripts, they have developed their own language. Okay, the Puppet guys have developed their own language to write these scripts. Okay, that language is called as Puppet DSL. Okay, and to set up a Puppet or to work with Puppet or to set up a Puppet cluster, it is actually very tough. It is actually very time-taking process. Okay, so it follows master agent architecture. It follows master agent architecture. What does it mean? It follows master agent architecture. Okay, that means observe, sir. So if you want to work with a Puppet, so as I said, these tools are used to maintain the configuration management, right? Let's say I have a group of servers in your data center. Okay, so I want to maintain the configurations of all these servers, right? So if you want to maintain the configurations of all these servers, what I required is, yeah. So out of these servers, I'll take one server. Out of these servers, I'll take one server route. Okay, on this server, I need to install Puppet master software. Okay, I need this particular server as a Puppet master server. Okay, how to configure this as Puppet master server? We need to install Puppet master related software in this server, and then so on each and every server, if you want to maintain the configurations of all these servers, okay, if you want to maintain the configurations of all these servers, you need to install Puppet agent software. You need to configure Puppet agent software in all these machines. Then only you can manage the configurations of these servers with Puppet. Clear, sir? So if you want to manage any server configuration means with Puppet means you need to install Puppet agent software should be installed in all these machines. Otherwise you cannot be able to install, or otherwise you cannot be able to do the configuration management of that server with Puppet. Okay, which follows the master and agent kind of architecture. Okay, so within this Puppet master, we need to write Puppet scripts, right, with Puppet DSL. So those script files are called as manifest files. These script files are called as manifest files. So what this script file contains? Okay, observe, sir. These are called as manifest files. Puppet manifest file. Okay, let's say now I want to create a user. Okay, let's say I want to create one user account in all my servers. I want to create my user account in all these servers. What I'll do is I'll create one manifest file by using Puppet DSL. Okay, I create one script file. Within that script file, I'll mention, okay, the user should be created with this username and with this password. Okay, I'll mention in the script file. So within the script file, if you want to join that user into any group, I'll mention that one as well. Okay, the user should be added to a particular group. Okay, I'll write all the script within my Puppet master by using Puppet DSL. Okay, after some time, okay, after some time interval. Okay, let's say the time interval, the default time interval will be 30 minutes. Okay, so some fixed time interval, these agents will contact the master after a fixed time of interval. Generally, it will be 30 minutes. Okay. The default time interval would be 30 minutes. So after some time, these puppet agents will contact the master and they will take this script file. Okay, they'll copy the script file into their local machines and there they will execute that script file in their local machines. Okay, whatever the script file that you are writing, right? This file would be fetched by this or pulled by these agents, and whatever the script that you have written in the puppet and within the manifest file, right? Those script will executed over here in this agent. So agents will execute the script file like this. Okay, after some fixed interval, puppet agent will contact the master and it will pull that file and it will try to execute the script file in this server, so that the user will be created in this server as well, like this. Each and every server will contact the master, will pull the configuration file and will run that script file in their local machines. Okay, like this. Let's say if you want to install a package, for that what you need to do? No need to log into each and every machine. You don't need to log into each and every machine. Once you have set up this Puppet Master and Puppet Agent, once you have installed Puppet Master software and Puppet Agent software in all the machines, what you need to do? You need to simply write one script file, one manifest file in the Puppet Master, so that after some time fixed interval, my agents will contact the master, they will pull that file and they will run that script file in their local machines, so that whatever that you have mentioned in your script file, those things will get executed in their machines. Okay, like this. So if you have written script to install some packages, so my agent will contact the master, they will pull that file and they will run that file into their server, so that within the server that exact file will get created. Okay, so here the agents are contacting the master and they are pulling this configuration files, right? They are pulling this manifest files. That's why it is called as a pull based mechanism or pull based configuration management tools. Okay, or you can say pull model. Okay, pull based or pull model, whatever you say. Because after some fixed time interval, my agents will contact the master and they will take the configuration file, they will pull the configuration file into the local machines and they will execute that configuration file in their local machines. So is it clear? Sir, is it clear with everyone? The pull based or how Puppet works? Right? So this is how the Puppet works. Okay, the initial tool which got introduced in the market is Puppet. So after that, okay, after that, another tool got introduced in the market called as Chef. Okay, so actually some people, okay, who are in the development part of this Puppet came out of this Puppet organization and they have developed one new tool called as Chef. Even this Chef also written in Ruby language. Okay, the Chef also written in Ruby language. Okay, but here the key difference is, so in order to write your chef scripts, you don't need to learn any other language. Directly you can go ahead and write the script files by using Ruby language. That's it. That is the only key difference. Okay, so if you want to work with Puppet, you need to write Puppet manifest files with the Puppet DSL. So you need to learn one separate language. But here, what the Chef guys have done, they said that, okay, no need to learn any domain specific language to write Chef scripts. Directly you can go ahead and write your scripts in the Ruby language. Okay, so let me write down these parts. So the Chef scripts are called as cookbooks. The Chef scripts are called as cookbooks. So the language which is used to write these cookbooks is which is used to write these cookbooks is Ruby. Okay, so if you want to write chef scripts, what do you need to have? What do you need to learn? You need to learn a Ruby language. That is for sure. Okay, even it also follows master agent architecture. Master agent architecture. So this chef also falls under pull model. This chef also falls under pull based. Okay. So if you can observe the chef's architecture, it looks something like this. Okay. Observe, sir. So, like how Puppet is having Puppet master and Puppet agents. That means if you want to maintain the configurations of a group of servers, okay, here you need to install or you need to configure a server as a chef server, which is a master. Okay, it is called as a chef server, which is called as a master server. All these are chef agents. Okay, chef agent. So you need to install chef agent related packages in these machines. Then only you can manage the configurations of all these agents with the chef server. Okay. There is one key differences. Here also it falls under pull based model, right? Okay, it comes under pull based configuration management tool. So here also these chef agents will contact the master. They will take the configuration files. That means they'll take the cookbooks. They'll pull the cookbooks within a fixed time interval and they will execute those script files in their local machines. Like this. So after some fixed interval, my agents will contact the master. They will push the configuration files and they will execute those script files in their local machine. But when you compare the architecture of Puppet with Chef, within the Chef, they have introduced one more component. They have introduced one more component called as assume that these are cookbooks. Okay. So yeah, the key difference between Puppet and Chef. Another key difference is there. They have introduced one more concept called as Chef workstation. They have introduced one more component of Chef architecture. It's called as Chef workstation. Chef workstation. So what is the purpose of the Chef workstation? So previously with Puppet, you are directly developing or you are directly writing the manifest files within the server itself. So what this Chef guide has done is, okay, let the server do the server work. Why to disturb the server? Let's write the script file in another server, okay, without disturbing the server, without disturbing the main Chef server. So what are the script files that you want to write? You can write in the Chef workstation. Just develop over here what are the scripts that you want to write. So once you have written the scripts, just upload it to the Chef server. Okay, this is what the key important differences between Chef and Puppet architecture. Within Chef's Puppet server and Puppet agent. So all the scripts that we are developing, right, or we are writing in the Puppet, we are writing those scripts we'll be writing on Puppet master itself. So here, when coming to Chef, they have introduced one more new component called as Chef workstation. Here they have said that, okay, let the Chef server do the server duty because it needs to give this configuration files to the agents, right? So without disturbing that master server duty, okay, they have introduced one more component called Chef workstation. So what are the scripts that you want to write? Yes, you need to write over here within the Chef workstation. Okay, so once you have finished your script, just upload the script to the Chef server so that the agents will contact the Chef server and they'll pull that configuration file, they'll pull the script file into that local machine and they'll get executed over here into the agents. Okay, it also falls under pull based model. Okay, in order to learn Chef, what you required? First, you need to set up all these things. Okay, you need to have a chef workstation, and then you need to have chef server, and then you need to configure all this, or you need to install chef agent related software in all the machines. And key point is you need to learn Ruby script. You need to learn Ruby script. So if you are very good with the Ruby script, yes, you can go ahead and learn chef. Okay, so after so many years, or after some years in the market, there is one more tool got introduced called as Ansible. Okay, this Ansible is actually hero out of all these configuration management tools, because this Ansible is actually developed using the most popular language nowadays, Python language. Okay, this Ansible is developed using Python language. That is the first thing. And the second thing, sir. Okay, and the second thing. So Ansible has agentless architecture. Okay, Ansible has agentless architecture. That means no need to install master and agent related packages in all the machines. Okay, let's say if you want to manage the configurations in a group of servers. Let me take it. Let's say within my organization, I'm having a group of servers. For this group of servers, I need to manage the configurations. So here, I don't require any agent related software. I can take one box, I can take one server out of these servers. Within this server, I'll install Ansible. That's it. Okay. No Ansible agent package. Okay. Only one package, I'll install Ansible. Okay, only one box, I'll install Ansible. That's it. So here, previously the agents or the servers are contacting the master and they are pulling the configuration file, right? So here, observe, sir. So in the box where I have installed Ansible, right? I'll write the script file within the box, okay, within this server itself where I have installed Ansible, and then, okay, I will push this file to the servers. Okay, no need of agents to contact the master. Directly, I'll push the configuration file to all the servers at one go. Like this. That's why it is called as push model. Okay, here no agents. Okay, so the boxes where you need to push these configurations, you need to mention the IP addresses within one file. Okay, that is another story. Okay, we'll talk about that tomorrow. But as of now, as of now, just assume that. Okay, just observe this thing. So here, no need to install Ansible in all the boxes. That is the first thing. Only you need to install in Ansible in only one box, and okay, you need to write the script file in only one in a box, and then you need to push this configuration file to a group of servers at once. That's it. Okay, so that's why it is called as a push model. It's called as a push based configuration management tool. Okay, so here the script files we are writing right here. So these script files are called as playbooks. These script files are called as playbooks. These script files are called as playbooks. Okay, let me write down the point. Okay, so Ansible script files are called as playbooks. Now the playbooks. Now the language which we used to write these playbooks. That is we used to write these playbooks by using a language called YAML. YAML. Okay, stands for yet another markup language, which is very easy when compared to all other languages. Okay, this YAML is actually called as a declarative language. Okay, so we are going to talk about this declarative language tomorrow. But for now, just understand that AML is very easy to learn. Things, list of dictionaries of lists. That's it. Okay, even though you don't know anything, you can learn AML. Okay, it's only matter of 5 to 10 minutes. That's it. Okay, that much of easy this AML is. Don't worry, I'll show how to write this AML scripts. Okay. But for the learning curve, or for to install Puppet or to install these configuration management tools, okay, now you decide which one you want to learn. You are very good at Ruby language. Let's say you are master at Ruby language. Yes, you can go ahead and learn Chef. Okay, and you are very good at Ruby language and you can learn any other new languages. You can go ahead and learn Puppet. If you are ready to learn Puppet DS, okay, you don't know anything, okay, or you want to do the configuration management very easily, just go ahead and learn Ansible. As I said, Puppet is introduced out of all these Puppet, the first introduced tool. Okay. So now most of the users or most of the projects people are using only Ansible as part of, as I have seen. Okay. Even they are not using Chef and Puppet because they are old tools. Okay. Generally, these Puppet works better with the physical servers. Okay, if you have a physical set of servers, generally, if you have your own data center in your organization, if you have your own data center, there generally people will prefer Puppet because the performance of this Puppet is very good at physical servers. Okay, if you have any cloud related servers, especially AWS, you can go ahead and generally people will prefer Chef. Okay, here if you have cloud servers or physical servers or virtual servers, any servers, Ansible will directly do the task for you. No need to worry because this on language. Okay, so you know, right, the use case of Python language. It can be used at anywhere nowadays. Okay, in the gamings, in the configurations, okay, the website development, in the data science related algorithms developments. So wherever this Python can be used there, you can go ahead and use Ansible. Okay, that is here we are using this Ansible for configuration management because this Ansible is purely configuration management tool. It is developed by using Python language. Okay, it is very easy to learn, and out of these three tools, if you learn any of the tool, that would be fine. But people are nowadays so many projects they are preferring this Ansible because no need to maintain huge infrastructure like for this Puppet. No need to maintain okay, our critical components like master components, agent components, and we need to verify like this master is this master is working or not, or these agents are correctly talking to the master or not. Okay, is this convergence is happening perfectly right or not? So we need to verify. You need to, so the cluster maintenance would be very tough when compared with the Puppet, Chef with Ansible. Okay, when compared with other tools. Okay. Uh, So from the past 3 years, I have seen that so many people are asking Ansible. Okay, if you can see any of the job details, they are asking Puppet, Chef, or Ansible. So out of these, Ansible is preferred. Okay, now you decide which one to learn. In my class, I would be teaching Ansible. Okay, in interviews they will ask these questions, sir. What is the difference between Puppet and So whatever the class that I have told you now, till now, right? What are the things that we have discussed? You should clearly say this way. Okay, no need to learn all these tools. Only one tool is enough for you. Okay, as I said, if you are very good at Ruby, go ahead and learn Puppet or Chef. Yes, no need of workstation. Okay. Yes, even though you don't know anything, straight away you can go ahead and learn Ansible because we are going to start this Ansible from scratch. No need to worry. Okay. always the latest one will be having so much of craze, right? When compared with the old heroines, the latest heroines will be having so much of craze, right? So like that, among all these tools, Ansible is having so much of craze because it is developed by using Python language. That means it comes with a trending family background. Okay, clear? So is it clear? So tomorrow we'll be discussing Ansible architecture and the important points. We'll be discussing about the Ansible. Okay, so please write down those points tomorrow, and just go back and refer to that notes whenever you are having interviews. Okay, that would be very, very useful for you. Okay, no need to learn, no need to no need to have the knowledge on Python, because we are not developing Ansible here. We are using Ansible here. Okay, so no need to learn Python here. In order to work with Ansible, no need to learn Python, because we are not developing Ansible, right? We are using Ansible. That's it. Okay, it would be very, very easy to learn. Okay, so this class will be continued from tomorrow 6:15 p.m. Okay, this will be continued in the 6:15 p.m. class. Okay, so if you haven't get the registration link, go ahead and contact the management to get the link. So where is that? Sorry. It's under downloads. Yeah. Okay. So this Ansible will be continuing from tomorrow 6:15 class. Okay, so you'll get a new link. So if you haven't received a new link, just go ahead and contact the management. Okay, they will give you the new link to attend the class. Tomorrow's 5 o'clock. Generally, as usual, we would be continuing with the version control system. Okay, tomorrow I'll start version control system in the 5. Okay, no need to worry, sir. No need to worry. You can learn both the things. It would be very, very easy. Okay, you can continue with both the classes. Absolutely, no need to worry. Okay, right, sir? Yes. So Docker and Kubernetes, that is a separate batch, Srikanth. Okay. So after maybe after this DevOps class, okay, if you guys are interested, we'll be, yes, I'll conduct a class for you. If you guys are interested, then I'll conduct a class for Docker and Kubernetes, especially if you're focusing on Kubernetes. Okay. From tomorrow onwards, we would be, what's it? 6:15 class, yes. So today there is no 6:15 class. Conducting the 6:15 class. Okay. Amazon build online. What does it mean, Chandramouli? I don't have any material with me, Sai Tarun. If you want, okay. So I'll give the running notes. Okay, if not, you can maintain the running notes. Because all these things are actually practical things. Okay. The more times you practice, the more in-depth knowledge you'll get. That's it. Okay. If you are interested, then you can attend Chandramouli. Okay. If you are interested, then you can attend. Yeah. I'll copy the notes. I'll copy the notes in the chat box. No need to worry. Right, sir? So tomorrow by sharp 5:5, you should be there by at least 5:5. Okay. After 5:5, I'll disable the login button for you. Okay, you cannot attend the class after 5:5. Okay, so try to be there try to be here by 5:05 because tomorrow we are going to start the scratch basics of version control system. Okay, so if you want to continue with the Ansible, just go ahead and get the link from the management. I've already given the numbers, right? Sir, I'm pasting the notes in the chat box. If you want, just save it. Go ahead and save it. Okay. So we'll be discussing so many points about Ansible in the tomorrow's 6:15 class. No need to worry. Okay. Right, sir. I didn't save it, Girkar. Only two commands are there right yesterday: sshfn keygen and sshfn copy fn id username and director. The IP address are hosted. That's it, right? Do you want me to paste those two commands as well? So these are the tools that I'm going to cover in the paid class: Ansible, Jenkins, and Jenkins CI/CD pipeline scripting, Docker, and provisioning AWS cloud infrastructure with Ansible. Okay, there you will be learning some use cases. Okay, we'll be working on some kind of projects. So it would be better if we call them as use cases. Okay. So with Ansible, we will be doing so many use cases. With Jenkins, we'll combine all these things, sir. Okay. So till now, whatever we are learning, right, we'll combine all these things. So within Ansible, what we are going to do? See, till now we have learned how to create users. Okay. If you want to create user on server 2, how to create user on server 2. Till now we have learned, right? But with Ansible, if you want to create that user across 100 servers or across a group of servers, how to do that? Okay. So till now we have learned how to install packages, right, on a single server. So with Ansible, we learn how to install those packages across a group of servers. And then setting up passwordless authentications for users. We learn to do that on a single server. So if you want to do that on a group, Ansible. So if you want to stop or start a group of servers or start some services, how to do the service management, how to do the process management. Okay, all these things. No need to worry, sir. We are going to learn all these things in Ansible. Okay. So if you are really interested to learn DevOps, or if you are very passionate to learn DevOps, just try to utilize this opportunity. Okay. We'll be going step by step, absolutely from scratch to the expert level. Okay. So every class would be practical class only. You need to practice on daily basis. Okay. Because the DevOps itself is called as a practice. Right? Good, sir. So that's all for today. Tomorrow, just if you haven't get the link, just go ahead and contact these numbers to attend this class. Okay. Tomorrow by 5 o'clock, we'll be having the version control class, and by 6:15, we'll be continuing this Ansible concept, this configuration management concept. Okay. Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for attending the class. Yeah. Bye, sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir.